Hello and welcome to this Scientific Principles video with Elec Training. In the next few videos we're going to look at what we call simple machines, and the examples we'll consider are levers, gears and pulleys. Now in this session we're going to start with a definition of the simple machine, and then we'll look at levers. So the definition of a simple machine is it's a mechanical device that changes the direction or magnitude of a force. There is an alternative definition, and it's this: the simplest mechanisms that give us a mechanical advantage to multiply force. So that term mechanical advantage is quite helpful in understanding what's going on. You see, in your own strength you can lift a certain amount, whatever that may be, but by using a simple machine you gain a mechanical advantage over your own strength, and it enables you to lift more. So you can multiply your strength, if you like. You can multiply the force that you can apply by using a simple machine. It gives you a mechanical advantage. And the first type of simple machine we're going to look at, as I said, is the lever. So let's take a look at the lever. So every lever has a rigid beam and a pivot point. The pivot point is called the fulcrum, and you'll see in the drawing down the bottom there that a large weight is going to be lifted by this lever, and there's the beam. It's a solid beam, and there's just a small rock has been placed as a pivot point or fulcrum. And so the idea would be, of course, that you apply force pushing down on the lever, and then you can lift this quite heavy weight. So the lever amplifies the input force to provide a greater output force. So by doing this you can lift more than you could otherwise do. So let's look at this diagram now, which is a sort of simplified version of a lever. So we've got the fulcrum in the middle there, and we've got the beam, and we've got the load on one side. And just think about the directions now. So as we apply effort on this end, if we apply the effort in a downward direction, the movement of the load is going to be in an upward direction. So there, according to our definition of a simple machine, is that we've changed the direction of the force. But we've also increased the force. And we're going to look at how we can increase the force to a larger degree by using a lever. So the idea is that the longer the distance from the fulcrum to where you apply the effort, then the greater the force that is applied to the load. Or to put it another way, the less effort you need to lift a given load. So if you want to make it easy for yourself, you need to have a relatively long lever and apply your force or your effort at one end of the lever. So again, if we just think about our diagram, the closer the fulcrum is to the load, and therefore the longer the overall length of the lever relative to the load and the position of the fulcrum, the more effective our lever will be. And there are three types or classes of lever. We call them classes. So we have class 1, class 2 and class 3. And just note that we use Roman numerals for the numbers. It's just a tradition with levers that we don't write the numbers as the usual 1, 2 and 3, but we use Roman numerals. So you'll see class 1, class 2 and class 3. So let's look at class 1 levers first of all. These are the most common types of lever. And in a class 1 lever, the way we define it as a class 1 lever is the fulcrum is in the middle. Not exactly in the middle position, because that won't be the most effective place. We generally want the fulcrum to be closer to the load. However, it's between the place where we are applying the effort and where the load is. So somewhere in that middle area will be the fulcrum, and if the fulcrum is in that middle area, then the effort's been applied to one side and the resistance of the load or the force of the load is on the other side, and that is a class 1 lever. So let's think about an example of a class 1 lever. So in fact we've got two examples to show you. The first one is a crowbar, and with a crowbar you can lift a load by getting the shorter end of the crowbar under the load and then applying the effort on the longer end at the very end of the longer part of the lever or of the crowbar, and that would lift the load. We also use crowbars to lift nails out of floorboards, and you just hook the end of the crowbar under the nail and then push down on this end and the nail will come up quite easily. And indeed we also use them to lift floorboards themselves. If you can get the shorter end under one end of the floorboard, once you've got that in position, you then just push down on the other end. Now the fulcrum is actually created by the shape of the crowbar itself. It has a sort of a pivot point which will be resting against the floor. Another example of a class 1 lever, very common in every household. I'm sure you'll find a pair of scissors, and in the case of a pair of scissors, the fulcrum is actually the sort of crossover point in the scissors, where there's usually a little screw through there and it'll pivot on that point, so that's the fulcrum. And you're obviously applying the load by using your hands in the handle part of the scissors to open and close. And what happens is obviously the blades will close against each other, but you're applying a much greater force on that cutting blade than you would if you simply pressed a knife onto an object. So a scissors is actually a very common but very useful form of a class 1 lever. Okay, let's look at a class 2 lever. And the definition of a class 2 lever is that the load is in the middle. Now the effort is applied to one side, and you can see there in the diagram the effort is applied upwards here, and the fulcrum is at the far side, and the area in the middle is where we would have the load. Now you'll see that as you lift in an upward direction on one side, the load is also going to move in an upward direction. So we've changed something from the class 1 lever. Remember, with a class 1 lever, the direction that you apply the force causes the load to be lifted in the opposite direction. And with a class 2 lever, we apply our effort and the load is lifted in the same direction. So it's simply by repositioning the fulcrum to the far end that this is achieved. So although we've not changed the direction that the load is going to be moved, we have increased the force that we're applying to it. So in other words, we need less effort in order to lift the load because it's using the principle of the lever. And the examples to think about are the wheelbarrow, which is one of the most common items found in a building site, and the wheel position on the ground there is effectively, that's the pivot point or the fulcrum, and the handle at the very end is where you're going to apply the effort. What we do, of course, is we lift the handles, and that lifts the load in the middle, and we're able then to push it along on the wheels. And then the last example of a class 2 lever is a nutcracker, and obviously nuts, particularly things like walnuts, are very hard to crack, and if we try to do it in a hand, we're really going to have a hard job doing that. But if we place it in the middle area of the nutcracker, and you've got the pivot at the end, the fulcrum at the end, and you squeeze the two handles together at this end, that will apply a much greater force than you could otherwise do, and hopefully you can crack the nut. So there we are. We've looked at class 1 levers and class 2 levers, and in the next video we'll look at class 3 levers, and we'll do some maths as well to calculate some of the forces that are involved. So thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.